Ninja.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Caffeine and Sensu Beans podcast, where we take a look at movies, Dragon Ball movies. We analyze them, we critique them, we review them, and we give our opinions on them. And then we give them a rating. Um, I am joined by Chiween. Unfortunately, Blessin cannot join us today. He has something he has to take care of, and we will respect that. So he will come back when it's time to come back. But as they say, the show must go on. So today, Chiween and I, it's going to be him and I, a duo. So Chiween, how do you feel about that?
About doing the duo? It's I feel like it's a different type of dance, but I think it's I think we can still do it. I mean, I think even if that fool were to do a duo, I think we can still talk and still find ways to engage this film. But I'm excited about it. This is different. It's a different type of format.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bless obviously provides like really good commentary and color, but we're gonna see what we're made of today. See if we if we really got what it takes. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay, man. It's been an interesting week. Finishing up school, and so I'm on my break right now this week because it's Thanksgiving. Nice. If you're listening to this, way in the future, this is taking place. Like what the United States calls Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And it's like it's a holiday supposedly to be thankful, but it's debatable. The origins, but I'm excited about the week being off. So it was also the week of like my brother passing, so it was also that. It was also just that in my memory, and just being with that and just trying to honor him throughout the week. But how are you?
It's been I'm doing good, man. And I was gonna touch on that a little bit, like so the listeners know, his brother, my cousin, passed away about a year ago today, or
it was on the 20th, I believe.
On the 20th. So okay. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So about a year ago. So it is his 1 year death anniversary. So, we're gonna give a little. What do you call it? Little? What do they call it, dude? It's not a It's like a little
dedication
memoriam.
Type of deal.
Yeah, a little dedication.
A little remembrance of my brother.
Exactly. And he's a big anime fan, a big Dragon Ball fan. But so we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm all right, man. We went out last night, and my stomach was feeling nice in the middle of the night. My stomach was feeling nice in the middle of the night. Holy crap, dude. It's still like, I know I still got something brewing.
It was the tacos.
I think it was, dude. And then, all the alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, that also probably with the greasy food and the alcohol probably didn't mix well either.
It's just not good for the
system. It's not a good mix,
yeah. But it was good. I mean, it was cool, like you coming around, meeting obviously, some of my friends, but then some other friends that you'd never met.
I finally got to see their faces. Like, geez, I feel like I've only known these fools through mythological stories I only make up what I think they look like, not put a face to the names.
Very grandiose stories that he's heard about my friends. But after you left, Omar was like, dude, your boy's so cool. He was lightweight faded. Actually, he was very faded. He was very
he was done. He was done so.
Yeah, he was done.
He was done so.
but he appreciated it. He was like, "Yeah, your cousin's tight, man." So, good impression. I mean, they were feeling it. So, it was cool. It was cool all around, and it did get a little cold towards the end. Um,
Yeah.
my toes were starting to get cold, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
okay.
nice boots, by the way.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Yeah, dude. I
Appreciate them.
didn't say anything extra, but yeah, the boots are tight.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate them.
No.
Yeah, I got them as a birthday gift. I bought them for myself. Uh, we don't want to go into into too much detail, but thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, everyone was looking pretty nice. It was good. We drank. My brother was there. My friends. My cousin, obviously. So yeah, it was a good time. And I didn't sleep. I woke up at 3 a.m, dude. I was like, oh no, my stomach, and it's coming out one way or the other,
Yeah.
right? Like either, or it's coming out, yeah. And
This wasn't it,
wrecked
huh?
it,
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
just wrecked it. I was
Yeah.
actually talking to Henderson right before we got on this,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking, and he's like, hold up, dude, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay,
He
so it might
comes
just be
back
the
like
stuff
10.
that we ate, dog. It might have
I think
been,
so,
yeah, it might have
man.
been the stuff we ate.
And it's just like mixing all that stuff. It ain't good for the system,
Yeah.
and we gotta digest it. How are you feeling though? How do you feel today?
I feel okay, man. My son, he woke up. Man, he woke up at like 4 today, and like he did
Oh,
not want to go back to sleep. And then so I went in there, and well, my wife went in there first and tried to put him down. Nothing. So then I went in there, try to give it my go, and he went to sleep until like 6:30. So yeah, so it took about like a good 2 hours and a half to get him down, and
damn.
uh, yeah, man. So I didn't get the best of sleep, um, and my stomach is not necessarily in a lot of pain, so
Okay.
I didn't have
Well,
the
then that's a.
tacos.
Oh, okay. You had the gumbo, right? Oh no, the jambalaya or whatever.
Yeah.
No, yeah, there you go. Um, okay, yeah, the tacos, dude. But did you drink beer?
Mm.
Oh, okay. See, I was throwing everything in the system.
Yeah, no.
That's what I think was messing me up, dude.
No, I had a margarita and that
Um,
was it.
oh, okay. Cool.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, man. That's good though. But let's get down to business. Why we formed this podcast. Uh, Resurrection F. One word to summarize it.
Bored.
Bored.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. I'm actually gonna go on the other end of that, but I know why you're saying that,
Mm.
and I want to hear your thoughts. But I'm gonna say entertained. But and I'll
Okay.
go into and I'll go into why I think that. But I want to hear like what you have to say. Like, why is that?
Man, this movie was hard to get through, dude. Like it was hard to get through. It
Well,
was it was an hour and a half, and like I was in there taking notes. I completely forgot to take notes because there's a whole section of the movie where there is literally just fighting happening, and it is
yeah,
just I look at my notes, and I even wrote this in my notes. Of like I haven't written notes in a long time, and I'm like, why is that? And I think it, and I was already like dozing off. I was like falling asleep. Um, so I feel like it was a really boring film, and at least to
and
me.
here's why. I think it's because the story was trash.
It's not that the story was trash. I actually think that if I'm really being honest, I think that the setup to the story was really good. I
Hmm.
like I like the way they set it up. Like I like the way they set up Frieza, and I was like, man, this is tight. Like I'm like, this is a good movie so far. Like the first 30 minutes, they had
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, man, this is
Okay.
tight. Like I liked Frieza, his interactions with his folks. He like comes back. Like they have a reason to bring him back. Like they set that up really nicely, and then it just falls. It For the
Yeah.
next hour, it just like goes downhill for me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you say?
Not
Why do you say
entertain.
yeah?
Okay, so I actually think the story to me, it wasn't it. I was like, this story, and I've already seen the movie, um, but the reason why I was entertained and I found myself like laughing through them. I wasn't like on the edge of my seat, like what's gonna happen next. But I was entertained because some of the characters they're just too good, dude. Okay, Frieza.
Uh-huh.
Frieza's performance. I thought all the performances were pretty good. I mean, there's some like Gohan. Come on, dude. The disgrace. The
This
disgrace,
is the
bro.
downfall of Gohan right here.
Yeah, this is exactly the moment they decided that Gohan was no longer going to be a main character. He's now been relegated to be a Piccolo.
He is a Piccolo
Um,
now. Yep.
yeah, and but some of the characters I thought were performances were I thought most of them were very redeemable, great performances. But I thought like this was some of the best Frieza we've seen, dude, and
Mm-hmm.
also Jocko. But I'm gonna get into Frieza. I love Frieza's personality, like his demeanor. He's never phased. But then when he is, he's so extra. And then there's that one where Goku's like to, or Vegeta wants to fight Frieza, and Goku's like, "Oh, you already found his weakness too."
Mm-hmm.
And then Frieza starts laughing, and then he's like, "Please," he's like, "Tell me what my fatal flaw is," and I'm hell cracking up. And he's so hilarious. And then when he's about to finish Goku, and he's like, "Oh, Vegeta," and he calls him over, and he's like, "Don't you want to take care of this, and you can join the Frieza Force again and be a loyal servant to the Frieza Force?" I mean, this dude is he's next level. Like, he's such a funny character, even though he's not meant to be. Like, he's so easy to like because he's a very colorful character. And then he had his squad. He had that boy Sorbet.
That's the
I
boy.
mean,
I gotta give it to him, man. I mean, look. I think that's the best the right hand man in the whole series. I mean, he's
yeah,
killing it
dude.
in that
Like,
role.
he was like, so yeah. And Sorbet was someone I was hella liking too. I mean, he's basically like Frieza. When he comes back, he sees him. He's like, "This is pathetic. Like what we've been reduced to." And uh, but I mean, Sorbet, he's got that Yajirobe. He's got that Hercule. He's a
Mm-hmm.
survivor, dude.
Yeah.
And when he's just in the cut, and then all of a sudden, blow,
Yeah.
he snipes this man out of nowhere, dude. I mean, then he gets obliterated. By Frieza's blast that Vegeta deflects. Um, but I was loving Frieza, I I like Jocko, dude. I
That's
know
the
he's
boy.
like,
Yeah, it's the boy. I liked him
dude.
too. I liked him too.
I when he's like he is hilarious because he's like the patrol and he's supposed to make sure that the everything is fine in space, but then he's terrified of everything, but he can fight. um I found him hilarious. Like, to me, he was funny when they were like, when he sees that Goku and Vegeta's still alive and they tell him those are Saiyans, and he's like, and they're like, Saiyans shouldn't be roaming the earth anymore, and that's part of his mission. And he's like, "Oh well, I'll just put it under the I didn't see this." And I was like, I mean, I just thought, like, that was good stuff. And the one thing I will say, I wasn't like, this is one of the issues I think Dragon Ball as a whole um kind of suffers from.
Uh-huh.
uh and it's that, like, it didn't feel like there were real stakes because Beerus and Whis are right there. So in my eyes, it's like, okay, I mean, if Frieza's not winning regardless, like,
Mm-hmm.
Beerus and Whis are here, they're gonna wreck this guy. And like, when there's no it that, the action wasn't, I thought the animation was great, like, me personally, but it's still like the battle is only as good as the stakes that are on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have the best animation and best fighting scenes, but if there's nothing at stake, it doesn't feel like you're not engaged, like you're not involved,
Mm-hmm.
invested. And you know, Frieza blows up the whole world, and then Whis is just like, "All right, time to rewind time." And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, what? Then we could just do that all the time.
That's one of my biggest things with this film. I hated the fact that they had a chance to just let Vegeta just kill somebody. Just let them win.
Oh
But
yeah.
they just couldn't. They couldn't fathom that idea. They inserted this ridiculous rule out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like, yes, we said it in the beginning of the film that he has the ability, a little bit of foreshadowing, right? He said that when they
Yeah.
were on
Yeah. To
Beerus, right?
set it
Yeah,
so that
right.
it didn't look like it came out of his ass. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just so ridiculous because it's such a blatant like attempt at like letting Goku be the hero, and I think in many ways it actually really hurts Vegeta's character. And I think that is what one of my biggest knocks with the film is. I think it does a lot more harm for certain characters than it does good.
Mm,
And I specifically think of
interesting.
Vegeta here because he's on the sideline for most of this film,
Mm-hmm.
and when he
Yes.
does come in, there's this almost like really pointless nature. Like there's a point where Goku and Frieza are fighting up in the sky, and then all of a sudden Vegeta comes in and starts trying to fight Goku, and I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like
All right.
Vegeta shouldn't be doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
Vegeta should know at least that certain amount of rule of like, okay, I'm gonna wait my
You don't
spot.
intervene.
But
Right.
at one point too, Goku's like, there's no relinquishing the fight, right?
Right. Invested in it.
He's
Like
so
he's just.
invested in trying to get this fight that I'm like, why don't y'all just fight them both at the same time? Like it's just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, and I mean, I think that's what Weiss has been saying to them this whole time, but it just seems really I just feel like it's hurting Vegeta more than it is helping him. And I think especially that
Yeah.
last scene, I think that last part is just to me one of like the most frustrating and like saddest parts of this super
Yeah.
this continuation of Dragon Ball, that like a character like Vegeta gets thrown to the side because why? Because he doesn't have some ridiculous ass move, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's just, to me, I didn't really like that. And I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's.
I'm on the other end. I didn't really like the animation, so I'll go. I think we're on complete opposites of this movie.
I guess so. Because I didn't like the story, but you didn't. You didn't hate it. I like the animation. You didn't. I mean, you like Jocko, but that's not redeeming enough for you to be entertained. Um, but I will say this: what I actually liked about this movie. So I'm coming at it from another angle, and that's good because you're a Vegeta fan.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even really think about it like that, but now hearing you talk, like, yeah, that's true. Vegeta always getting the short end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
If you really think about it, the world exploded because he didn't finish him off, and Goku too. But I did like that, like Whis called Goku out on his bullshit, like that Goku's always like willing to give people a second chance, and like he doesn't finish people off or he doesn't take things seriously. He just he doesn't finish it. He doesn't handle it when he has to. And
Mm-hmm.
um that's always been something with Goku because they make him like this big goofball, which he wasn't in uh Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in Super, they decided like, okay, he's gonna be this big goofball. And I like that he called him out on the bullshit, and he was like, dude, either you grow the F up or like, this is always going to happen. But to your point, like, and so I like that because that's something I've always had against like Goku's character. He's always and he's willing to give everyone a second chance, and he's a goofball. He doesn't take things serious when he has to. So I like that he called him out on his BS. Now, as it pertains to Vegeta, yeah, dude. I mean, they're the two. So there are two moments in this movie where uh, Vegeta gets like just shamed in front of Goku. Well, like verbally.
Yeah.
This is when Whis and is training Goku and Vegeta, and he's like, Vegeta, even though like you're second fiddle, like he points out that he's weaker than Goku, but he's
Yeah.
still a great warrior. Um, and like deep down, it's like there it is,
That's the
another
truth.
jab at
Yeah.
Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
And then Frieza, when Vegeta's like, okay, I'll take you on now, I'll finish you. And Frieza goes into like this ridiculous laugh, his laugh, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, right. And
Uh-huh.
and it's just like damn, they really got to do the boy like that.
They
Always getting
gotta
the
do
short
it,
end of
man.
the
They gotta
stick.
do it. And look, and I don't really mind it. I don't really mind, like, yes, you can play on that. I think what I don't like is like the you make it. It's one thing to be shamed through words. It's another thing to be shamed with like the actions. And I think that
Right.
this film, I think, really went out of their way. They went out of their way to not make Vegeta kill him. And
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and I think that is what is. I think that is what hurts his character, because the words and the dialogue, Vegeta can laugh it off and he can say, "I'm gonna still beat your ass." You know what I'm saying? Like he could go through that. He could go through that, but like it's different when you go out of your way to change the what is in front of you, because you're literally changing what is in front of you just to fit
Right.
your narrative, and that is, I mean, that to me that's one of the biggest problems with the film, but. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I find problems with, but
What
I
were
think
some of the other things?
so. I think that this is one of the biggest flaws that I saw in the film. That this is the thing that really, like I said, first 30 minutes they had me. Good story. I like the setup. Frieza's in his bag. Like he's like I'm liking the dynamic.
Garlic Junior. No, is it Garlic Junior? And Mai and
Yeah, yeah,
what's
yeah, yeah,
the little three goons
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
were they had like mischievous and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so he comes out, and he's in his bag, like to me, like he's making fun. He's like saying it's our
He's just
garbage, and it's like how you said,
yeah,
right, sorbet, like this is really where we're at now.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
pathetic, and just like he's just chewing them out, right? And he's just doing it in such a calm manner. But then comes this freaking transition that just fucking killed me. So you have a story, right? I'm an English teacher. So in a story, what
Mhm.
you do, at least from what I know about literature, is you set up a story like this and you set up this thing, right? They tell him, Frieza, Goku has gotten stronger. So now that means
Mhm.
you have to get stronger. And he's just like, okay. But they don't show how he gets stronger. They don't show any of that.
Yeah.
And it's like the story could have just gone that way and
Mm.
just shown us how Frieza is struggling to just get stronger, and just because he just shows up as gold out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
like, so there's
Right.
no progression there for him, and they missed an opportunity to expand on his character, to expand like how is he getting stronger? How does he get to gold? Like there could be the whole story right there, and it could be centered around
Exactly.
Frieza. But no, they decided to, instead of doing that, give us a little bit of what Goku and Vegeta are doing. But then the biggest thing is they freaking like they go back to like, let's show everybody that Krillin and Piccolo and Tien,
Oh yeah.
they could all still fight. And to me, that was such a big waste of time. Like I'm like,
It
you are
was.
fighting henchmen that nobody knows.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
nobody knows, nobody cares. That is what you've been reduced to, and that is taking up about 30 minutes of this film.
It
Them
really does take
them
about 30
running
minutes.
away
Yeah.
from this big crowd of things, and like I'm not to say like my favorite one probably was Tien when he was in the cave and he does the triangle beam, but like
Yeah. The triangle beam.
that's about it. Everything else I'm like, yeah, there's nothing really noteworthy here. And like the fact that Gohan is over here struggling, like it's another
It's
death of a
embarrassing.
character. It's embarrassing, dog. Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
to me, that's one of my biggest problems, is that the story, it didn't it kind of stays halfway done. It gets halfway cooked. And
Hmm.
then it just picks up with the fighting. But I think the fighting
Yep.
or like the animation is for a separate piece. So I'll wait for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, just for the
I see
story's
what
sake, what I'm saying, that's kind of where I'm at, where it lost me.
I see what you're saying, and I agree. Like it does start off strong. I remember the first time I watched it, I was really feeling the beginning parts of it, and like I like seeing the little side story with dang, I don't want to say his name was. He looks like Garlic Jr., but is it Garlic Jr.? And then forget the
Little
other
Wolf,
dude.
yeah, Little Wolf,
Yeah.
or Little
Um,
Fox, I think.
and then yeah, and I was feeling it, and then they make this is the issue that they've created themselves. Like you referenced, or yeah, you referenced the whole Tien, Piccolo, Krillin. Like here we go, throw them in here so they get some screen time.
Yeah.
But it's like they've created this their own problem where like all these villains turn into good guys. Well, not all of them. Obviously, Piccolo. That Tien wasn't really a villain, but he was like an antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Piccolo as well. Like you wanted these guys, you didn't want to kill them off because I'm sure they were probably beloved. But now they're just fodder. Like they're just and they don't know what to do with them now. So you
Yeah.
can't, obviously Piccolo can't go out here and destroy Frieza because then that wouldn't make any sense to anyone. Like
Mhm.
why would Goku and Vegeta need to exist at that point? And then it's like Piccolo, the best he can do now is like you said, fight a henchman. And it's like, dude,
And struggle.
you actually in one of our earlier episodes when we started talking about movies, you talked about like the samurai code. You referenced it,
Mhm.
and I think that's something they need to apply here. Like Piccolo, yes, I'm sure he's beloved, but he would be better served if he died an honorable death
Mhm.
as opposed to continuing to live this like fodder life as just like his, and he didn't even destroy the hench. Like I mean he did, but then here comes Gohan, turns Super Saiyan, one punch, and he finishes the boy. I forget his name.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
the red dude with the
The red
horns.
dude with the horns. Yeah.
Uh, um, and yeah, it's like, oh, just fight the grunts. Like just here, do something. Just do something. And so now it's like a bunch of filler. It's a waste of time. Like no one really feels invested in it. No one thinks Piccolo's gonna die. I mean, that'd be embarrassing. That would be embarrassing if he died
Yeah.
at the hands of one of these grunts.
Yeah.
Um, but then, but no one feels like the stakes are high, and so yeah, I agree. Like they need to either a create a reason why these characters are not in the story, like not include them, because
Mhm.
if they're gonna like do not include them, and if you're going to include them, the way I would do it is like they have their own movie, like where the stakes are high for them. They go on their own solo mission where these other characters that they cannot be reached. Because if not, then it's just like they're in this middle ground, yeah, it's a shame. But
Yeah, they're just there to just fill. Exactly, just exactly what you said. They're just there to
mhm,
fill the time up, and I think that's what really turned me off about the film. Like by the time that we get to them, is just like this is just a big waste of time. It's just not. It's not moving the plot forward. Frieza is just kind of just waiting there. It's not really serving really much of anything. If it just anything, it's just providing just little like, little cool things to like see, like, oh, Krillin's doing this, or like
mhm,
Gohan is, turned Super Saiyan and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, I think they didn't really serve its purpose. I think I liked a little bit how Super handled this, because Super, I mean, Super, this is essentially the Frieza arc, and like
mhm.
in Super though, they added an element that I think actually the film probably could have needed, which was where it gave a little bit more like explanation as to how Frieza got stronger, and it shows
Mhm.
like him practicing with the really skinny dude, like in his crew with
Yeah.
Sorbet, and
Yep.
like, and he's just like showing him that he's like he's just getting the shit beaten out of him, and because
Oh God.
out of that, like that's how Frieza gained more strength. But then at on
Mhm.
the other end, that also allowed that skinny dude to get strong, and that's who they fought. That's who the team
Right.
fought. You know,
Right.
because he had gotten stronger. Now he's a formidable opponent, and
Instead of just coming out as like, here I am, I'm stronger,
yeah, and then there's
which
no
is what happened in the
explanation,
movie.
There's no explanation, even though you started really strong. It's just kind of like you started off really strong, telling us a good backstory, then all of a sudden it just goes into, okay, he's stronger, just believe us,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Exactly.
And I, but similarly though, I find the same problem with Goku and Vegeta. I think I find the same exact thing there. Like I know they try to give it there, and I have to disagree. I didn't really like the animation. And I think this film actually is actually making me really understand that I do not like Super Saiyan God Blue.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Yeah, that I don't. I
But
think
go
this
ahead,
movie
continue.
just cemented that. Like, I don't like it. I think it doesn't look good. I mean, it looks cool visually, yes, but I think that there's no, like, I think back about the Fusion Reborn in Super Saiyan 3 and the way they handled that transformation. There was just so much like depth in that transformation to me. Like even in the Majin Buu arc saga, Goku pushed himself to the limit to try to figure this thing out, and he just
Mm-hmm.
like he he almost fucking died trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
there was so much
Mm-hmm.
struggle for him to get there. And Super Saiyan God Blue to me just feels like they just bypassed that. And I
Yep.
dislike the fact that they just skip over the red one. That I'm like, why did you do the red one then?
Exactly.
You
I
know?
agree. It looked just like, you're right. Like, okay, visually it can look as cool as you want, but if there's no depth to it, it's not gonna like, yeah, okay, it looks cool, but it's like, dude, there's nothing to it. There's no, like you said, there's no depth, there's no backstory. And you talked about um like Goku with Majin Buu. I mean, think about when Vegeta is like trying to turn Super Saiyan, like Super
Mhm.
Saiyan 1, and he goes off to I forget what planet, but he's fighting, and he's like he's on the verge of dying because he actually bit off a little more than he could chew, and he's like on the verge of dying, and he's like, I'm not gonna make it, and the earth that he's on is crumbling. He's getting swarmed, and he starts crying because he's like, I failed. You know, I couldn't make it. Goku or Kakarot made it before I could, or he made it and I didn't. And I'm the like how, you know, like that real frustration of like we've all had it where we hit a wall and we're like, dude, what the heck is going on? Like, why can't we do it? Like, what's going on?
Mhm.
And he and you feel that, you know, like you feel powerless in that moment where you just don't understand why you cannot get over this wall, and Vegeta's feeling that, and then out of that, like out of that rage and that anger, that despair, that sadness, like he turns into a Super Saiyan, like with tears in his eyes. And there's and that right there is like, oh dude, okay, he finally did it. It felt like an accomplishment, you know. And he
Mhm.
had to dig really deep. Same thing with Goku. Like he's yeah, he has a dormant Super Saiyan power in his dormant, but it's not until he sees his best friend get killed that it like unleashes a bunch of rage, and he turns Super Saiyan. And so in this one, it was just like they show up and they have it. Now, granted, yeah, they've been training with Whis, but like, dude, there's no struggle there. It's just like they're just getting dominated, but there's no like, you don't see a progression. You know, you don't see a moment where like Goku and Vegeta all of a sudden catch. They've been getting bodied, and then all of a sudden they catch Whis like with an actual punch, and Whis is like, oh, what the fuck? Like these dudes are getting better. You don't
Mhm.
see any of that. You just see them train, they show up, they transform. And I think it was simply to have a new transformation for the fans that were going to go watch the movie. You know, like
Yeah.
have something that they were, and you know, yeah, I agree. Like you can make a transformation as cool as you want, but if it doesn't have that depth, then it's not gonna hit. Like it's not gonna resonate. So I've always felt the same about. I like Super Saiyan more than I like Super Saiyan Blue,
Yeah.
um, for that same reason. So
Yeah. I mean, I think
yeah.
I think transformations are meant to show a growth
Mm-hmm.
uh, through some sort of like, well, at least in film and in literature, it's usually through like a struggle, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
characters going through some struggle, through some problems, and all of a sudden they figure something out, and then now they transform. They shift in their being.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie just lacks that for both the antagonist and the protagonist. Like
Yeah.
Frieza and Goku and Vegeta, they do not show any progression in their transformation. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it really hurts the film, in my opinion. I think it hurts. I mean, Frieza's my favorite villain, and I don't think that anybody can convince me that he's not the best. But like, uh, it's not that I dislike Gold. I think it looks really nice. Like it looks. I really like the. So maybe
No,
let me.
visually they look great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get into some of the parts that I did like because I feel like I'm just talking shit about the film. But like some of the things that I did like was there was like this color contrast that I really enjoyed, which was like as soon as Frieza turns gold and then Goku and Vegeta, or Goku mostly turns blue, I like the way that they use the color palettes there. Like they
Yeah.
use the black sky to really highlight the colors, and I really enjoyed that because I'm like, oh, that looks really nice. That looks really,
Mhm.
um, yeah, that looks really good. I like the contrast of colors there. I didn't really like the setting, but uh, I didn't really like the water and like the like I don't know where they were. It looked like a cliff, but
Yeah.
but I did like some of the color choices that they used. Even
Hmm.
like even though I know Gohan gets stuff for his green tracksuit, I think it was just visually. I think it doesn't look bad to me. Like it's a
Hmm.
good contrast to his yellow hair and
Yeah, it's just he looks like Slender Man. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, he looks
dude,
really
man, my
skinny.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my guy lost it, dude. He lost the swag. Um, how did you feel about Beerus and Weiss being on the sidelines and then having that huge Sunday
Yeah.
while the fight's going on?
Dude, that to me was one of the dumbest things that I've seen. Well, not dumbest, but just like, why? The fighting scene at the point where they actually stopped it, it actually was doing okay. It was all right. Like
Hmm.
they were going at it and they were showing off some new moves. They were, it was a good high pack, like fast paced, action packed scene. And all of a sudden
Hmm.
they cut to it and this man's eating ice cream on the
Yeah.
sideline. I
Yeah,
saw I
dude.
caught that. I caught that. I thought it was, it's unfortunate because I think Beerus has potential to be a really cool character, and there are
Yeah.
parts of him that I like that I find amusing because I think he's different in many ways to many of the
Hmm.
characters. But to me, he it's just a character that I don't think that they really know what to do. Like he's
Hmm.
just kind of just
He's
there.
so ridiculous. Yeah.
He's so ridiculous, and so he doesn't really have to fight anybody because he could just kill
No.
anybody. So
Yeah.
he to me, even in the series and Super and in this film, he's just always on the sideline. He's just always watching.
Yeah. And that's another reason why the stakes never feel high, because like no matter how strong Goku or Vegeta may get, Beerus comes in and will dominate. Like, okay, Frieza beats Goku. Well, here you go. You get one shot by Beerus.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Um, and another thing I didn't really like that I think so, or maybe it's just me, but I feel like like we have a story here, guys. Was when uh Whis is like, oh, uh, Vegeta doesn't know that you were the one who ordered the planet Vegeta to be destroyed.
Yeah, I caught that too.
And
Yeah,
I'm
I noted
like,
that in my notes too.
oh, I was like, we're just gonna leave that there. I'm like, dude, what? That's a deal. But they play it off just like, oh, here it is, so nonchalantly and keep it going. And I'm like, no, this is probably something huge that can, if you develop this story well, and you don't just say it so nonchalantly, like it's discovered through a very unfortunate way, it can create a really great story.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah, it sounds like
you
a great
know,
story already. Yeah.
yeah, and like where you see how scared Frieza is of Beerus, and I feel like they just could have done so much better. Like they find out that Frieza is actually just being ordered by Beerus, and they find out like they've been betrayed. Like I just think there's so many things they could have done with that, but they're just like, let's just say,
Let's just have him eat a Sunday.
yeah, exactly, dude. Oh my god, you know.
The beer
And
is
here's
man.
the thing, dude.
Yeah. Uh,
With and like you said, I don't know that they know what to do with him because he's so insane that they're like, well, I mean, Goku and Vegeta can't beat this guy because if they do, then that means that they've ascended to such a level that they're, I mean, absolutely all godlike ridiculous. But like, he's too strong for his own good as a character, but he's really cool. Like I do like him, but it's just I like him because I feel like he's a funny character. He has that side to him, and I would like to see what it's like if he gets pushed. You know what I'm saying? I
mhm.
want to see what happens if Beerus gets pushed, like to the most. I want to see him go all out, like have to go all out, and you know, that's when I'll be like, yeah, that's I see why Beerus is in this story, but for right now, he's really a god. Like he even tells Whis like he says, don't forget who's the deity here,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's true. You are. So, um, yeah, man, I feel like they also like Whis and Beerus, they're maybe a little too strong for their own good. I know that their character, they're a lot like the fan base loves them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like there's no there's I don't know what they can do with them. You know what I'm saying? Besides what I just said. So,
Yeah, I
um,
wrote that in my notes. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like they really tied that in. Like I mean they just threw it in passing, but it's like, yeah, exactly what you said. There's a
exactly,
story there. I think that would be a really interesting story to see if that would develop, like how Vegeta would react, and like that
exactly.
potentially pushing him to another level that, we may or may not know. And
That's how
yeah,
they activate Blue. You see
that's
what
how
I'm
you
saying? Like,
exactly, what I'm saying, like that. Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean you get that anger back because I think that they
exactly,
don't they're not exerting any of the anger that they did, like that they used to
exactly. In
have.
Dragon Ball Z, exactly,
Yeah, the anger is
exactly.
kind of like not there. It's just kind of like, let's just train, and then this is the way we're gonna get stronger. And I
But
mean I mean, yeah, I mean that's what it is, right? You practice and you get better. You do things. The more often you do things, the better you're gonna get at it. So I mean, that to
mhm.
me logically makes sense. But in regards to like a big transformation that you're asking us to buy into, it needs some stakes. It needs some sort of like leverage, to push you to the
Mhm.
limit to get to that
Mhm.
next level, as opposed to just training your way out of the top in that.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think Beerus and Whis, they're cool characters. I don't completely hate them. I like Whis more than I like Beerus, because I just think that like Whis. I mean, if Whis is
Well,
like the
we
one
supposed to be
training him,
more insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like if Whis is the one training Beerus, like
Yeah, that's what makes it even scarier.
I'm like, okay,
Exactly.
well, Whis is just holding it together, but I do like Whis. Whis has personality. Beerus, in my hand, in my opinion, doesn't have that much personality. Like, I think he looks cool. I personally like the way he looks, but like, uh, to me, he's just they don't know what to do, so they just put him on the sideline, and then in this movie, they just use their powers for something really ridiculous. That I'm like, it's
They could
unfortunate.
have they could have just stayed in or they could have just I mean, dude, if you think this one's ridiculous, dude, good luck with watching the first one where Beerus comes in. What the
Other
hell?
God of
Like,
Destruction.
God of Destruction.
Hmm.
Good luck with that one, bro. I mean, I don't know if you know the story. Like, do you know kind of a little bit of
I just know because I saw Super, so I just know it through the Super lens. So it was
okay.
interesting to watch Resurrection F and see what was changed in the series and what was kept in the movie. Because they did, like I had mentioned, they changed a couple of things. Like they
Yeah.
fixed some of the animations. I think in the series, the animations, there were some animations that didn't look that good. Because that's one of
Right,
the
right,
knocks
right.
that Super gets, is that some of the animation sometimes looks off.
Yeah, it does, dude. I mean, the animation Dragon Ball Z is top tier, and we've seen it in some of the movies like Fusion Reborn, top tier.
Yeah,
I even thought the one with the one Bio Broly, good
I thought that was good
animation.
too. Yeah, I thought that was good too.
Yeah, but I know Super got because Super it started off, dude. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Started off as a cash grab,
Yeah.
and as the fan base, as we know, the Dragon Ball fan base is very opinionated.
Hmm.
Um, they started going off on the. So you'll notice like the animation as it starts going through like the Jiren and UI Goku, it's completely different than
And
when
when it started.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's a completely different animation because I remember watching the YouTube videos and the dudes breaking down the videos were talking about the writers that they had brought in or the animators and the writers too. Like they knew they were catching a bunch of heat and so they started bringing in like different top tier animators and different writers. Um, and that's what that's what I don't like, especially about the beginning of. I feel like if they come back, I know they're coming back. Like I'm 100% sure they're coming back. I I want them to do a better job writing. And I know that's easier said than done, but Dragon Ball Z, even though it wasn't like the most insane, ridiculous story, it was better writing than the one in Super, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to like, deviate too much from the movie, but you've watched Super, obviously. Dude, at the end, like 17 wishes for, man, it's been so long. It ended in 2018, but
Yeah.
or 2017, 2018. But what is it like at the end? Or was it 2019? Shoot, I forget. But at the end, everyone comes back. All the universes are restored, and like Android 17 is able to go on a cruise ship. Like what? With
Yeah.
his family. That, and I didn't even know he had a family. You see what I'm saying? So like, so this is like where it's so hit and miss. And Dragon Ball suffers from that lately, especially. Like they're not doing a good job of like storytelling, progression, showing a character when they're most vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, especially in this film, they had an hour and a half to work with. I mean, with the movies we've watched, they have 45 minutes. And
Yeah.
they decided, like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we're just going to make the fight scene longer. All
Yeah.
right, there you
Oh
go.
Lord. That's exactly what it felt like. They're just like, yep, all right, we're gonna fight for the next hour. And
Yeah.
nothing else is gonna happen, just them fighting. And it's like the fighting wasn't even that good in my opinion. It was okay, but it was a lot of like, I'm gonna grab you or I'm gonna blast you through a freaking cliff. Like it was just a lot of that. Like it was either they were getting thrown into the water or they were going through a freaking cliff. Like that's all they were
Yep.
doing to each other. Like, you know,
There's no strategy there.
yeah, there's no strategy, but yeah, man, that's kind of where this movie lands for me. Uh,
So, let's do it. You want to read the reviews?
yeah.
Let's do it. Let's see what they have to say.
All right, let's see.
All right. So, I'll read it. I'm gonna read a few
Okay.
here. I'm gonna start off with the good ones. And oh, nice. I like how the review that I pulled up, it starts off in English and then it transitions into Spanish. Oh my goodness. This is terrible, dude, because it was translated to English. Oh my god. Hold up. I should have seen this. Okay. Well, so okay. So this one is this one's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, this is a very long review. But it starts off Frieza's final form again. Now, this individual gave it a tomato. This is on Rotten Tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
Um okay. Dragon Ball or DBZ Resurrection F is a fast-paced film with tons of action and great animation, but lacks any meaningful punch, which is true. Like that's kind of what we just discussed. Like, or at least I like the animation. And you said there were a few redeemable pieces, but the overall movie, like, it's like, okay, is this movie kind of a joke? Or is it like a comedy? Or is it really like a serious film? Like,
Yeah.
like which one is it? And it's like DBZ doesn't know what it or yeah, it doesn't know what it wants to be. Like it's good to have some comedic relief, and I think Frieza does that well. I
Hmm.
think Jocko does that well. But when you start having Beerus in there, like for the comedic relief, like it's you don't need that many characters.
Yeah,
You
you
already
don't need
got
that.
Krillin.
No. Hmm.
Because then it just turns into like a comedy show. Um, have your one or two. I mean, I was feeling Jocko. I like when he starts going into his dance, he goes into his moves and stuff.
Yeah, the
You
freaking
know,
pose. Yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah.
starts hitting them like
I even thought
ah.
his sequence was probably the best ones in the fighting ones when they're fighting the dudes. Like, his was different. He was like
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of being more mischievous. He was like, he wasn't necessarily the one fighting. It was like other. It was kind of like a slapstick type of
Hmm.
fighting, which I
Yep.
enjoyed because we don't really see that in Dragon Ball. I like that.
Nope. I agree. And honestly, dude, this, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it got really good. This movie got really good reviews. Like
Yeah, I bet.
it got it like on Rotten Tomatoes, it got an 85%, and from the critics and the viewers gave it an 84%. I
Nice.
wouldn't give it that high. We're gonna give our scores in a little bit. Um, but yeah, overall, people seem to really like it.
And this was also written, and I think written by the original writer too, from Akira Toriyama.
Toriyama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like the one that brought him back.
So exactly. Okay, so another one keeps it very short, sweet, and to the point. Dragon Ball Tale is only for Dragon Ball. No, wait, sorry. Is mostly battle scenes for fans only, which is true. Like, it's mostly battle scenes, and even the most diehard fan, in my opinion, has to admit that this ain't it, Chief. This story is not it, dude. All right, like
Yeah.
you can be critical of a piece you like, and me, I did like the animation, and um yeah, the transformations look cool. I think Frieza looks great, but like we said, there's no stakes. It doesn't feel like anything's on the line. Beerus and Whis can jump in at any minute. Oh, guess what? They do jump in. They jump in to rewind everything that was done. Imagine that, dude. It's like, oh, you died, but you here, come back to life. Here you go. It's like, nah, dude. There has to be some type of risk in it, some type of like real leverage, something that can be lost, and there isn't that. So,
Hmm.
for the most part, the reviews, they're good. Uh, Actually, so a lot of the reviews are good, but they accept some of the shortcomings of the movie, which is
Hmm.
funny because this is actually a review here, which gave it a good review, but it said this movie is lots of fun, but it really depends on how much you accept or not some of its flaws. Another review that's in Spanish and just translated on Rotten Tomatoes. Um, and yeah, that's true, man. Like I found it fun on some level
Hmm.
because some of the characters, like I said, like Frieza, I thought Frieza was top tier. Um, I thought I thought Jocko, that was my guy. Like I was feeling them. Uh, and Frieza's always there for a good, like you can always
Yeah.
count on him for a good laugh, man.
Hmm.
He's always gonna bring a color. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's so many like glaring shortcomings in this movie, where like we look at and I use Bardock as kind of a reference, dude. Like that one didn't have that much action. I mean, it was 45 minutes, 44 minutes, and
Hmm.
we saw it like not the best quality, but the story was so much more, in my opinion, intriguing than this one that had an hour and a half
Hmm.
and a whole bunch of characters. Like the whole squad was there. Um, and it just goes to show you sometimes less is more. Uh, so yeah, man, I guess let's go. If you had to give it a score, 7 Dragon Balls.
Seven
What are
Dragon
you
Balls.
going?
I keep going back and forth on this one. This one is probably the hardest one that I've had to grade so far. Just
Okay.
because, like, I don't think that it's worse than Fusion 13. So it's in the lower
Oh
parts.
yeah.
Not it's in the lower parts for me. So
Okay, yeah.
so I don't think that it's as bad as Fusion 13, but I also don't think it's as good as Bio Broly, at least in my opinion.
Okay.
So
Okay.
And Bio Broly's my 4. So that would mean that this movie would land at my 3. But like
Okay.
there's something about it that makes me want to give it a 2, but I think that there are some redeeming qualities that I think might save it. So I think I'm gonna just long-winded answer to just say a 3.
Okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think it's a 3, a solid 3 for me.
okay.
Yeah, I loved Frieza. I really enjoyed Jacko. I said some of the animation was cool. Uh, and that's about it that I really enjoyed from this film. Is just
Yeah.
those 3 things. I had a hard time. Like I said, I got bored. I stopped paying attention after a while, and I think that tells me, I think enough. of what
Mm-hmm.
I what I
Mm-hmm.
what I think about it. But then again, I like more stories, right? Like if you
Yeah,
love action and you love just seeing
that's true.
just fighting and you like just that, I would even say that this movie would be okay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I didn't enjoy the fighting, but maybe somebody else will. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think if you're the type that likes fighting, then yeah, maybe this movie is for you. Well, shoot, maybe 13 is for you then.
yeah.
Android 13, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'll have to say I'm gonna have to give it I'm gonna have to give it a 4. And so a 4 is kind of high considering this movie, in my opinion, is not that good. But the reason why I'm giving it a 4 is simply because I think I like the animation. Beyond the animation, even if the animation I thought was trash, even like with all its glaring flaws, like Frieza getting super strong out of nowhere, and then even Goku and Vegeta getting super strong out of nowhere. Even though they try to add a little context, I just think that one, I like the opening. I like seeing Krillin,
Mhm.
patrolling, and he's got his own
Out there.
job. He's got his hair. He's got
Yeah.
his family. He gets Android 18 gets a little hot when she sees that when he transforms, when he's bald and he's ready to go.
Yeah.
That's her man right there. Um, and then and and I like Jocko, man. That's my guy. He's another one of those Hercule type characters. He's a survivor. Like, yeah, he got hired to do a job. Let's admit he's not the best at it, but it doesn't matter. Like, he he knows how to portray himself to be really good to his superiors. So they're like,
Mhm.
man, Jocko's killing it. He's doing it. So he knows what he's doing. Like, he does what he has to do, and he does the least to get the most. And he
Mhm.
knows what battles he has to fight and what battles he doesn't. So I love Jocko. I wish they used him more in the series. I think he's hilarious. And then Frieza, man. I think Frieza's performance just top notch. I mean, he had so many great one-liners, always taking jabs at everyone, bro. No
Yeah.
one's safe from his wrath. Like, even his own boys, his own squad, they're getting roasted as soon as he comes to life. Like, that's the first thing. Comes back from the dead, man starts roasting everyone in the ship.
In the room.
Um,
Yeah.
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 So I'll have to go 4. 4 out of 7. 4 out of 7 Dragon Balls. You know, wasn't not a great movie. I feel like they had an hour and a half, and they decided instead of adding more story, they're going to add more battle, more fight,
Yeah. Mhm.
and that's how they decided to fill that extra 45 minutes worth of
Mhm.
space with more fighting.
The
Um,
second act, as one would say in literature,
exactly,
right? The second act.
exactly, and that was the second act. The whole fighting, like once Frieza comes in with their henchmen, and even the way Goku shows up. But anyways, it is what it is. 4 stars out of 7. 4 Dragon Balls out of 7 Dragon Balls. Uh, that's what I'm gonna have to give it. Um, but before we wrap it up, uh, you wanted to say a few words, remembering your late brother. I will say some as well. So yeah, man, I'll let you take it. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. So we wanted this film. Well, it is what it is. Every week we try to provide some new Dragon Ball content, and we're just happen to be in films. But this week, was the anniversary of my brother passing away. He passed away last year, and I didn't really grow up with my brother. He was in El Salvador, and I was here in the U.S. So I didn't really grow up with him, but what I do know is that he loved anime, and I
Mm,
remember when I would go to El Salvador, he sometimes would just share with me stories about his anime like experiences, and like and through his stories, I just learned so much about anime and the power that anime has, and I think that this is why anime is so powerful and why it's becoming almost like a thing right now. Like I think right now anime
almost
is going through
mainstream.
like it's going through like a mainstream turn right now where anime is being accepted and is not looked at as like you're like a nerd or like, you know, some
A
geek that's
geek.
just looking at it. It's
Yeah.
just like it's becoming more mainstream. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a big part of it is what some of my brother, I think, really saw in it. And I remember him talking about this. I forget what anime it was, but it was about this older man that had like a sword. And
I remember you telling me.
and I remember we were in a car and he started telling me about, you know, both. I mean, he didn't have his dad, so he didn't know his dad. And then, you know, I had my dad here, but um, something that he shared with me was that like through that anime, he's like, it felt like I had a dad through that
Mm,
anime, like through that man with the sword. He was just teaching me all of these things that like no man in my life was really teaching me. And it was these lessons about discipline. It was these lessons about caring. It was a lesson about like what it means to be a man, what it means to be a warrior. And uh and I think, you know, he lived his life in many ways, you know, according to what he learned through anime, which I think is really powerful. When I
mm-hmm.
think back about what, you know, what he was, and he was just so knowledgeable about anime. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew
Mm-hmm.
so much stuff, and but that was never really my relationship with him, right? But I just knew just some little stories like that. And I don't know if he had some instances with you. I think you had more interactions with his anime side, didn't you?
Yeah. And he was a wealth of knowledge when it came to anime. He loved anime. And I mean, I remember texting him when Goku fought Jiren in Super, like when
Mm-hmm.
Goku first goes Ultra Instinct. And I don't know if you know, but that basically that crashed the anime apps, like that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember texting me and he was super hyped that he got to see him like transform, and he was feeling it. He loved UI Goku and you know, uh yeah, he was yeah, he really he had such a connection to anime. And I understand, like, he he didn't have, much where he was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure at times he felt like he was by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he used anime as kind of a way, and I think a lot of people do, as a form of escapism, or like to just for a little bit to find comfort and find guidance. I mean, he told you he learned a lot. I know Bless has talked to me. He said
To
he
cope.
learned a lot from Naruto, like,
Yeah.
and because and I think it's just the way anime is. Like, anime, it's yes, it's animated, but the it comes down to the story. Like, it almost doesn't matter the medium that you're consuming it. It's the story that's being portrayed and how well it's told. And if it's a good story, it doesn't matter if it's anime, it doesn't matter if it's like a book, it doesn't matter if it's a movie. Like, it will resonate. And I think, like, you don't watch, actually, one of the podcasts I listen to called Trash Taste, they talk about anime too, and they're like, you know, it's anime. It's been kind of labeled as a cartoon, but it's like, you don't watch. And they said this exactly. They're like, you don't watch Courage the Cowardly Dog for the story. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? Like,
mhm. Yeah.
but you do anime. Like
Yeah.
anime, like you would any other series. You're looking to go on a journey, and I think for him, and for a lot of people, but especially for him, he looked to go on a journey. And I mean, I remember as soon as he got here, dude, he got a job, like, and he was working, and he would take the bus and he'd be watching like Attack on Titan on his phone, like, while he's in the bus, and he'd be getting hyped. And I remember just watching him go like this all the time, like every time he's watching something, and he get so hyped. And he put me on Naruto because he showed me the Rock Lee versus Gara fight, which is legendary. It's legendary, dude. Legendary fight. And he was a kid at heart. Like, he was so genuine. Like, he was really cool. Like, you know, he was fun to be around. Like, had he gone out with us last night, he would have been in his element, dude. He would
Yeah.
have been loving it.
Yeah.
Um, so, I probably do have more memories, especially when it comes to anime, than you. And he was just such a light spirit, and he used, I know I'm very certain that he used anime as a form to, like, escape. because it's, I don't know. I'm sure we all face challenges, and he had his set of challenges, and anime was probably a way for him to find guidance, comfort, like I said earlier, escape. Um, I remember he loved Super Saiyan 3, like that was his form. I was like, in Spanish, I'd ask him like, "Oh, which is your favorite form?" And he'd be like, "Super Saiyan 3, come on, dude! Like I shouldn't even ask." And he loved it, like he loved it, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, rest in peace. He was a great soul, and he was an anime lover. And I'm sure it's almost a shame, but that we started this after his passing, because I'm sure he would have loved to have listened to this, even though
Hmm.
maybe 50% of it he wouldn't really understand it. He
Yeah.
would still he would still tune in. So, you know, um,
He's here with in spirit though. I think that's what's really beautiful
yeah,
about this medium or this piece is that, like, you mentioned that Blessed talked about Naruto and, like,
hmm
the effect that it's had on him. But who introduced you to Naruto was my brother. So it's
and
actually
I
living through,
exactly,
what I'm saying? So it
and I
lives through
introduced
that.
Derek to Naruto.
Yeah, or
Wow, wow,
bless. Yeah, but what I'm saying? So, like, so so I think that's the way, we keep him in our hearts and spirit. We miss him and we love him very much. And I think just wanted to just dedicate this episode to him. It's his anniversary. And yeah, many of us, we wouldn't be into anime if it wouldn't have been for someone like my brother. And I think we all have
exactly,
that person in our life that
exactly.
is like my brother, that shows us this world, and we find some sort of comfort in it. How you said it, we cope with what was happening in the world. But yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, of course, man. I appreciate that. Some lovely words. Um, with that, we will uh we will sign off, huh? Do you have any closing thoughts?
Just subscribe if you listen to this on Apple. If you're on Apple and you're listening to our podcast, leave us a review. Just 1 out of 5 review, just any review. Just get us on the algorithm so that we can see, we could be seeing more. And like and comment our YouTube videos, and um, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Hit that like and subscribe button, and like Chiween said, go ahead and search us up, leave us some reviews. Um with that, I think we'll sign off. We have a few things up our sleeve that hopefully will materialize. We may or may not have a guest appearance, but that I guess will be for uh, the future. So yeah, you could leave us a question, a comment, feedback, anything. What did you think about the movie? Did you like it? Are we being too critical of it? Did we miss something? Yeah, let us know. We'd love to hear your take, and yeah, with that, we'll sign off, huh?
Yeah.
All right, later, guys.
Later.
Ninja.